it's Karen from The Fit Habit. I am in the kitchen today and I am making something. So I figured I would just have you guys join in if you're interested in learning how to do something fun and cool. So what I'm making today is a vegetarian nut loaf. This is both low carb and keto. So I wanted to make this recipe especially because I know a lot of you are saying that, you've been on low carb for a little while and then you see a plateau. And one of the reasons why I think a lot of people see plateaus is that even though they are eating keto or low carb, they aren't necessarily following some sort of a caloric deficit. So the best way to do that without getting maniacal about counting calories is to just eat more veggies. So this loaf, again, is low carb, it's keto. I'm sort of like leaning down because I find like I put this way too low. It's low carb, it's keto, but it's also full of veggies and fibers. So this is going to kickstart your fat loss if that's what you're after. So let me share with you what I've got. And don't worry, you don't need to write anything down. I will put a blog post below to a recipe that exists around this already. This is going to be a little bit different today because I don't have all the same ingredients, but generally you'll get the drift. So here's what I have in my big bowl. I have some kale, onion, some peppers, and some mushroom. But what I've done is run all of them through the food processor so that it's really small and like finely chopped. Now you could do this by hand, but God, you gotta have a food processor in your kitchen. That's what I believe anyways. Mine is a Cuisinart and it's awesome. I've had it for like 15 years now and I love it. So anyhoodle, hang on a second. Before we go any further, yay, now you can see me better and it's lighter in here. Okay, so like I said, we put all of the minced veggies in here after they've run them through the processor. What I'm going to add to this now is a full can of artichoke hearts. And I've also loosely run it through the food processor as well to make it sort of like, you can't really see that, but it's all chopped up and mushy. So basically what I've got is a big bowl of veggies that are all very, very finely chopped, and you're just going to give them a mix. So the recipe that I'm going to put on the comment section after I'm done here is going to have some carrot, maybe some celery in it. I didn't have that on hand today. The beauty of this particular recipe is that it's really sort of something that you can use what you have, right? Like you might always have artichokes in the pantry. If you don't, you should. They're very high in fiber, low in carbohydrates, so they're a great veggie for your low carb keto diet. So now that I've mixed up those veggies a little bit, I'm going to put in half a cup of cashews. So I'm going to toss those in. Those give a nice crunch. What I've got here is about a quarter cup of chopped olives. Olives, again, very low carb, very healthy fat, so I'm going to pop that in as well. What I've also got here, and this is just because I have it on hand, I don't necessarily recommend that you absolutely have to have it. This is cauliflower rice. Cauliflower rice is everything, right? I mean, we can make anything with cauliflower rice these days. So I'm going to put about half a cup of that in there as well, just because it has no flavor, but it has texture and bulk. So these are things that are going to fill you up, give you lots of fiber, and I mean the antioxidants and the nutrients. There is nothing bad about all of that. So let me show you again what I have here now. Like this big bowl of finely chopped veggies. It looks so, so good. Now we're gonna go ahead and season it. But before we do, we're gonna add eggs. Eggs are the binder. So generally I recommend doing 4 eggs, but I'm gonna see if I can get away with doing 3. And basically what I'm going to do is just look at how watery it is. You've got to be careful not to make this too watery, because remember, think about it, all of the veggies that are in this casserole, or it's going to be a casserole, all have water content in them. So you don't want to make the consistency of your loaf to be too soggy, because that's no fun, right? So I think I can probably get away with 3 eggs in this recipe. So I'm going to do that. So now that I've got my veggies mixed up in the eggs, it's just all sort of mushed together, looking lovely. Now we're going to season it. So, oh, by the way, I should have told you this at the top of the session. I've got my toaster oven, because that's what I'm going to cook this in. I've got my toaster oven preheated to 400, I should say, 400 degrees. So that's going to be really helpful. So now I'm going to season it. I'm going to use about a tablespoon of oregano. Tablespoon of thyme. Thyme is on my side. I'm going to do pepper, lots of pepper. Pepper is good for you, it's good for circulation, and it brings out beautiful flavor. And now, I'm so excited to share this with you guys. Salt. So this is Maldon salt. This is what Maldon salt looks like in the packaging. You can't really see because, there we go, because of the brightness. But anyways, this is a handcrafted salt that is very thick and coarse and makes everything taste phenomenal. So you must get yourself some Maldon salt. You can get it in Amazon. I will endeavor to put a link to it maybe in the blog post for this recipe. So I put about a teaspoon, half a teaspoon maybe, 3/4 of a teaspoon of Maldon salt in this, and it probably could use a little bit more. So the other thing I'm going to put in, because I'm not putting that much salt, is tamari. Now tamari is sort of like gluten-free soy sauce. I just like using this because I think it brings out more of that salty flavor. But you don't have to use it at all. You can also use coconut aminos, and if you don't know what coconut aminos are, it's very similar to soy sauce, but it's a little bit more healthier for you. So in terms of fat, because I do believe you need to have a fat in here beyond the egg yolks, not just because it'll make it keto, but also because it gives it the nice flavor. I'm using an avocado oil today. Avocado oil is a little bit better at high heat than olive oil is, and I'm putting in about 2 tablespoons, just like that. Now the other thing as I mix this up, I'll tell you, I was considering putting in was some fresh English peas. I get those at Trader Joe's, but you can also buy them frozen. Now the thing with peas is that they are very high in fiber, but they are also very high in carbohydrates. So while I don't think that they are ever going to break the bank, the carbohydrate bank, and I don't think you're ever going to get fat eating peas, the reason I bring it up is if you are really trying to stay on a keto level, you want to avoid higher carbohydrate vegetables. So I just bring that up, but I'm not that concerned about carbs that come from from vegetables. I don't eat potatoes because I do think they are very high in sugar and starch, but peas, I'll let myself go there. So anyway, now I've got my mixture together. What I'm going to do is take a loaf pan, and I definitely have enough mixture here for far more than just one loaf, but I'm just, for the sake of simplicity, as I am here live, I'm going to grease one loaf pan, and I'm going to pop this in here. Now, if you wanted to, you could absolutely add cheese to this. I'm just not really interested in adding anything to it. You could also add a little bit of coconut milk if you wanted to. I don't know if that would change the consistency, so experiment at your own risk for that, for sure. So now I've got a good, well actually I have used the majority of this, so maybe I will be able to get away with just one pan. What you want to do is pack this down as much as possible, because obviously we want this to be like a loaf. So this is like a meatloaf, or some sort of a loaf that I think is perfect for holiday meals. Now I know it's the middle of February and we're not really coming up against too many holidays where you would have a big meal or a turkey or something like that. But if you have a vegetarian at the table, or you just want to have this as an option for folks who don't necessarily want to load up on turkey or ham, it's great. And again, it's extremely healthy. It's extremely low in carbohydrates. So that's what it looks like now when I've got all of the contents of everything that I just did, and I will put the metrics of it in the recipe that I share with this. So now I'm going to pop this in the oven, and I believe it's going to take about 40 to 60 minutes to cook. So again, I have my little toaster oven at 400, and I'm going to pop it in there now. Now, one thing I didn't do, because I'm live here on Facebook, is cover that with tinfoil. I probably should have. So I'm going to let it cook for about 15 minutes or so, and then I'm probably going to cover it. Typically you cover first and then you uncover as it cooks, but I'm just going to let that sit in there while I sit and chat with you guys. So that is just one of many ideas where you can add more healthy fats, healthy fibers, and more water to your diet. So if you are struggling with weight loss, if you've plateaued, consider eating more non-starchy veggies, because that is definitely going to kickstart in more ways than one, and it's healthy. So, I mean, we can do bacon cheeseburgers without the bun, but I don't know how that, I don't know how that does for your arteries, your heart. So on that note, I'm out of here, guys. If you have questions, let me know. I will take a photo once it's baked and add it to this string of comments. So if you have any questions, feel free to give me a holler. Until then, bye. Hey guys, just jumping back in here to show you what the finished product looks like. So I just pulled this out of the oven. It's gonna need a little bit of time to settle. But when it cools down, I'll slice it up and serve it, and wow, doesn't that look amazing? Can't wait to try it.